All right, we're live. Welcome everybody. So you have joined us for the If You Ask Me short film program. My name is Jessica Jang and I'm the education manager at Workman Arts. Workman Arts would like to acknowledge the Indigenous land on which we are presently located. Toronto comes from the Ganegenha word, Tekaronto, which can be translated as where the trees meet the water. It is part of traditional territories of many nations, the Huron-Wendat, the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. Workman Arts recognizes this is an ongoing dialogue, and we're grateful to live and work on this land with all people, those Indigenous to Turtle Island, and those from all over the world. Workman Arts values inclusivity, anti-oppression, and safety at all levels. Everyone has a role to play in maintaining this spirit, and so you can please see our full statement and code of conduct on our website. If you scroll down, it's at the very bottom of each page. And that way we can ensure that you and we are all treating each other with respect. And if you would like to ask a question during this panel, please do. We'd love to hear from you. You can type it into the question chat box. If you're joining us through the Cinesend account, you might have to minimize your screen in order to see that chat box, and you'll be asked to just put in your name and a question. The moderator will choose those questions for the panel, and we apologize in advance if we're not able to get to your question within the allotted time. We have our active listener, Kat, joining us today. Kat's waving their hand. If you need to step off the call, text them, or if you require support, please get in touch with them directly. Kat will be, you can send those questions in the text box for Kat to get in touch with you. And we do value making time to discuss difficult content at Rendezvous with Madness, but respect that you know your own limits, and we'll seek out the kind of support you need if you require it. We also have live captioning available at the bottom of your screen. You can click on the CC at the bottom, and it'll make the captioning visible to you, or you can choose to turn it off if it's already on. Anissa is our live ASL interpreter for today. Their image will be pinned on the screen during all times, so you can see them as our panel progresses. All right, so today I'm honored to present a panel of youth filmmakers who participated in Workman Arts' 4th annual youth filmmaking program called If You Ask Me. If You Ask Me is a free program that supports emerging filmmakers with mental health and/or addiction experiences to develop a short film in the company of like-minded peers. Over the summer, 8 filmmakers were selected from an open call. They attended workshops led by industry professionals and received mentorship from If You Ask Me alumni to create a film for this year's festival. Jillian Mueller, who is joining us this evening, facilitated this year's program alongside mentors Saba Akhtar, Aram Khan, and James Knott. This program was made in partnership with BIPOC TV and Film and Trinity Square Video. Our short film program was co-presented with Sketch, Toronto Youth Shorts, and Singapore Mental Health Film Festival. If you watched our program, which I really hope you were able to, the last film in that list was part of the Singapore Mental Health Film Festival and was made by a youth filmmaker. This year, we welcomed filmmakers from across the country to join the virtual program. So under these current pandemic conditions, filmmakers were asked to push their own creative constraints by adopting new strategies for filmmaking and to negotiate what it means to explore stories of mental health at this point in time. I'd like to introduce our panelists finally. This is not in any particular order. We have, oh, and please raise your hand or wave to the lovely audience when I say your name. We have Shubhi Sani with us, who is a writer and filmmaker based in Toronto. She is interested in telling character-driven stories that come from a place of personal truth. Shubi is an incoming graduate student at the USC School of Cinematic Arts, where she is pursuing an MFA in film and television production. Next, we have Hannah Donato, who is a Filipino-Canadian researcher and multimedia artist from Montreal. With an interdisciplinary background in psychology and world cinemas, she endeavors to showcase the interstitial space between our personal internal worlds and our shared external world. We also have Claudia Liz, who describes herself as a queer type 1 Latinx Caribbean actor, acting coach, illustrator, writer, and producer, who is now exploring her voice through filmmaking. She also loves telling and enjoying stories about Latinx Caribbean families and friends navigating life in the modern Western world. We also have Samyukta Mova, who is an Indo-Canadian writer and filmmaker in Toronto. In her work, she seeks to explore the spaces where different worlds collide and our shifting relationship with time and memory and the experiences of displaced persons. And we have Malaika Athar, who is a second-year student at the University of Toronto. She fosters her love for English in the short stories, essays, and films she writes. The core theme of her work revolves around the different experiences that come with various mental illnesses. And we have Manvinder Gill, who is a Punjabi Canadian researcher, community organizer, and perpetual student. Her work explores the relationship between alcohol and Sikhi, critiquing constructs of culture, gender, and contemporary conceptions of religion. So welcome all. We do have two filmmakers who were unfortunately unable to be with us here today on the panel. We had Kotoko Kasiyama, who was involved in the program, and Jay Liu. We thank those who weren't present for their rich work they produced and the generosity they brought to the program. And that sort of spirit will be kind of embedded in our discussions today, I'm sure. And last but not least, I'm pleased to introduce our workshop facilitator for the program, Jillian Mueller. So Jillian was originally going to lead most of this panel discussion, but she's just feeling a little under the weather, so we'll take that pressure off of her today, and I'm happy to step in to ask some of those questions. So Jillian attended Ryerson's Film Studies program, Vancouver Film School's Writing for Film and Television, and Second City's Sketch Writing and Improv program. She spent the better part of a decade as an assistant director with the DGC. Jillian draws on her multi-ethnic West Indian family and her intimate knowledge of production to create character-driven content for film, television, and digital platforms. All right, enough of me talking. I'm now happy to jump into these big, meaty questions. All right, so I really enjoyed watching the shorts program as someone who wasn't necessarily privy to all the workshops that you participated in the past, like throughout the summer, over, I guess, 3 months. It was really great to sort of like just get an introductory sense of who you were during the first workshop, and then at the end, getting a better, richer sense of who you are as like a filmmaker towards the end through seeing these like really inspiring and dynamic films. And so I'll start off with this question for everybody. So I'm sure you discovered a whole new number of challenges in the past little while, challenges that maybe you would have never imagined like a year ago, right? And so I'm just curious, based on that, how would you describe perhaps the growth that you experienced in this past while? And we can keep it open-ended right now before we jump more specifically into your films, but what was that like for you? And I'm happy to, maybe I'll leave it open and whoever wants to answer can answer. And then if you don't answer, I'll call your name. So yeah, my question is, what was your experience of growth like in the past 3 months?
I can go. It was quite it was quite scary, and I was doing everything myself, and so understanding how all the different roles work in film production was quite daunting, because I didn't know if I would be able to be as good an editor or as good an actor as I thought I can. But because we're in COVID, I wasn't able to get either of those people involved. So it was a very scary learning process, but I think I came out of it pretty successful. Yeah, that's all I mean.
Thanks,
The
Malika.
reality. Oh, go ahead.
I'll go for it, Claudia.
I think for me, it was like the reality of what you thought you wanted the film to be versus what it actually needed to be, and like constantly stripping down what was actually necessary to tell that story. Like for me, I initially thought I would start with like character driven dialogue, like back and forth, kind of like stepping into my brain. And then when I actually got to filming it, I'm like, that's actually me hiding from what needs to be said. And so I just went right into it. And for most of the process, it was a matter of just like letting yourself be vulnerable, especially because I was the subject, and allowing that to be the process and letting it unfold. And like Malika said, doing everything myself. It was like, if I don't do it, then no one will. And that's also like super empowering to know that like you're the one that's moving that film forward. And then at the end, when you're like, wow, I completed that, like that's like a stamp of honor to say that you went through all those different roles to make that happen. And personally, I had tech issues. My computer like died like 3 days before the film, and I was like, oh my god, it's over, I can't do it. And then there's always a light at the end of the tunnel because I still had footage on my phone, and I was like, it's gonna happen. And so like I made it happen. So there's always that little more push that you can bring it forward to make things reach completion. And it's really satisfying to say it's done, and I feel really good about what I made. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I just want to echo what's already been said, but for me, it was all those things that have been said, but also getting courage, I think was the biggest growth I had in this. At the beginning of this process, I could have never imagined that I would be my own subject in my film, or I would act in any capacity. And it was actually Jillian who encouraged me to go for it and do it. And I don't think I had that support or this program or workshop, I would have created what I did.
Same with Shubi. I think my biggest growth spurt was just taking that leap of faith. We talked about it actually a lot at the beginning, of just going out there and doing it, which I thought I was able to do, but I didn't understand that up to what point I was able to do it until this program. I was telling people about what I wanted to make. I casted my best friend for the main role, and I was exposing a part of myself that I didn't know that would make my first ever short film. So for me, my biggest growth spurt was really just learning how to take the initiative and just going for it and accepting whatever comes out of that.
I think for me it was very similar, but also I think I'm still working through it. This like taking a pressure off of myself, and just allowing myself to be vulnerable, which I'm like trying to do in my personal life as well. But after seeing everyone's films, it like really encouraged me and like motivated me to like show like my most vulnerable side as well, which I think was like holding me back. But I think, yeah, it was like a process that didn't happen until like maybe even yesterday. But I think that was just, yeah, it was happening, and then it felt like tangible that it happened more recently.
I think I'll echo what Claudia mentioned, which was going into this with all these different ideas of what you think the film should be, but then producing something that ends up being maybe completely different, but sets you on a path that maybe it needs to be at. So, for example, I came into the program with a very different idea. I wanted to explore mental health in the pre-medicine and science community. And 3 weeks before the deadline, I had some mishaps with my cast and crew. And so I had to completely pivot and try and I really wanted to create something to show at the festival. So I ended up having to create a story that was a lot more personal than I intended it to be. And now is hopefully going to be a work in progress for a longer film that I want to work on for the next year. And that's just an idea that I didn't have at all when I came into the program. So I think that idea of hiding behind a lot of unnecessary maybe embellishments and having to strip that away is something I really learned, especially given the situation with COVID and the limited resources that we have. So I'd like to echo what everyone said. Getting to be my own editor was also really fun and a steep learning curve, but I learned a lot, and now I'm excited to keep editing and keep doing more of that.
Yeah, there's so much like fascinating territory that everyone kind of touched upon that was similar that I'd love to kind of dive into more. And it's great to hear, for instance, that, you know, this was, you know, even this project is going to be the seed that kind of, you know, continues to be nurtured and will grow into like future projects and initiatives. So we're definitely excited to see what will come. But we'll take a step back, and Samyuka, you were sort of like alluding to this. But I'm curious to hear also, just from each person, how did your project shift initially from your beginning pitch to what was actually submitted? Because I had the privilege of being able to look through applications and, you know, read a lot of amazing proposals. And I know a number of you, the first day we met, stood by those proposals. So, and I could see glimpses, of course, of the things that you wanted to carry through into the film. And some of the films like ended up being surprisingly, you know, delightfully different. So yeah, do you guys want to speak to just the evolution of your original ideas to what actually came from that?
I'll go first. My film is about skin picking, but initially I came into it thinking I was going to explore the different angles in which, like, so for ego, anxiety, and like the higher self, so like the spiritual self. And so that's what I came in with, and I'm like really still adamant about that project. It'll evolve into, like, I think a theater play. But when it came to the film version, I felt like I was finding a lot of resistance in that approach, in that I was actually kind of skirting away from the actual ritual that is skin picking. And so that's why I decided to scratch like the character work, because, and it still lives under the surface. I think you can see it in the way that like the film is shot. You can see it in the mannerisms. It's all there. It doesn't need to be like said. So I just felt like letting it go was actually doing the film more of a service to what the story needed to be told. Yeah, and then deciding to like do the dialogue on top of the body, like in terms of a voiceover, it felt like way more intimate. And it felt like you were actually seeing more of like the head process of what's going on when it's happening, versus like having different characters talk about it in almost like a third person kind of way. Just, it didn't feel authentic anymore. Yeah.
For me, I originally came into the program with a scripted project, and I had the whole script done already, and I was very set on focusing on elements like aesthetics and set design and all this stuff. But when I started doing test shots with my phone, because I decided I was going to film with my phone, I was finding the stuff that was interesting was what was existing outside of the acting, what was existing outside of my script I'd written. It was just me existing on a screen. And so that led me to want to explore a documentary approach. And what I ended up doing with this project is I kind of just gave myself the freedom to explore whatever interested me. So if something was interesting, like just seeing me laugh, seeing me dance, or seeing me cry, I thought that was far more interesting and vulnerable than anything I'd written in my script. And so I just allowed myself to follow where that interesting footage was coming from, rather than sticking to a preconceived notion of what a film is or what it should be.
I can go next. So I went into this program knowing that I wanted to talk about dreams and my experience of narcolepsy. But I think even a month in, I didn't know exactly how to do that. I just had zero ideas until I realized I could just ask people what their dreams were like. And so I had a really wonderful partner who helped me with the research, Don Okay, who helped me draft this survey. And then we asked a bunch of people, hey, what are your dreams like? And in the end, all of those responses we made, I studied them and I gathered all the insights, and it's what composed my cinematography, my editing techniques, and even some of the subject matter, how the film moved within itself. So surprisingly, I went there with like this desire to mix psychology and film, and I think committing to that idea and pushing through even when it got incredibly difficult was the most like rewarding thing, because what I didn't know that it would look like this at the beginning of the program, but like it's exactly how I want it to be.
I can go next. So I initially came in. I think I spent a month and a half developing a script, a screenplay with a 3-act structure based on the original proposal that I submitted, which was to explore mental health in the science and pre-medical community, which I feel hasn't been explored in depth on screen or has been depicted on screen as of yet. So I spent a month and a half developing a 15-page script. So I wanted to create a 15-minute short film with 3-act structure and kind of shoot it in a traditional cinematic style. So 3 weeks before the deadline, there was a little bit of a mishap with my cast and crew, as I mentioned, and I would be remiss if I didn't thank my best friend who acted in the film, and another one of my good friends who also acted and who came through at the last minute to essentially give me something that I could put out there and be proud of. So I essentially, when I said it became a bit more intimate, being that my initial film, I think, was a bit broad, very big picture, very general, exploring broad themes that kind of were removed from my own personal experience. But the new film idea that I have has taken a lot of my own personal experiences over the last year or two, and I wanted to make it a more visual exploration, kind of like a visual diary. That's kind of the approach I went for. And I really wanted to tie together, I love impressionism and magical realism and the idea and the place where dreams and reality seem to meet. Similar to some of the other participants here, we talked about this a lot over the last 3 months, I think. So I actually think my initial actor backing out and having to pivot into a completely different idea was maybe the best thing that could have happened to me through the course of this experience, because I think the film I produced is closer to the aesthetic and the themes that I wanted to touch upon and what I want to continue exploring in my work moving forward. So I'm actually thankful for the curveball, but I definitely know that I couldn't have done it without the support of everyone in the program. Because, when I found out that my actor dropped out, I called Hannah, like about to cry, and she picked up and she was super supportive. I talked to so many people in the program. So I have to just say, like, it was really nice having that support system, that structured support system, because I think if I was just doing this project on my own and something like that happened, I wouldn't have been able to pivot and pull through in the last 3 weeks the way I think I somehow managed to. So I just want to give a shout out to everybody here for that as well.
I can go. I've been trying to rack my brain trying to answer this question, because I think that as a whole, my film didn't change too much from what I initially wanted it to be. I wanted to discuss beauty, I wanted to discuss frames, and I wanted to be shot like magical realism. But in a weird way, I think the film changed me. Like now I feel like the way that I was viewing it at the beginning is very different from the way that I view it now. Which is why actually the last kind of monologue in a way that I say was very like, it was random, and it was very last minute, because I was like, this is not what I'd initially thought that I was talking about. But now I know, like, this is what I'm talking about, and this is what I want the audience to leave with. Yeah, and I think I feel like that's a pretty universal effect of art, which I love, like the way it changes you as you're changing it. And yeah, that's me.
So kind of similar to what Samyukta has shared already. I think my film started off being quite broad and removed, although it was like a very personal topic to me. So mine was supposed to be about the Punjabi community and their relationship with alcohol. And it was building off of my master's thesis, which I was also trying to complete this summer. So I think I chose to complete the thesis and like let the film like simmer for a year and work on it. Hopefully it'll be done for next year. But yeah, I think as I was like delving into it, it just made more sense for it to become more personal, for me to not only interview people within the community, but to interview myself. And it was really like rationalizing to myself that my story is important, like my personal story. So it's kind of shifted from like creating a story that I thought like the community would benefit from to creating a story that like I want to share and watch, and that like I'm happy with.
I was really excited to hear all your answers on that one. So thank you. And it's really interesting to hear once again, just how, these ideas that get filtered through the self end up kind of like boomeranging back, where you yourself then start evaluating how it is, like you're implicated, in the stories that you wish to tell. So this next question is about kind of our current historical moment that we're finding ourselves in. And my question is actually a question that James Knott, one of our wonderful mentors, had put forth. James was wondering how you have each navigated the barriers of participating in a workshop remotely.
I can go first. Actually, for me, it was very helpful because I'm based in Montreal. So being able to access the workshops remotely helped me a tremendous amount. I know for sure I would not have had this opportunity had it not been able remotely. So for me, it was all positives. Of course, there are some things that I'm like, oh, I wish I could actually be there in person and know exactly what you mean by turn the camera this way, or this is what 3-point lighting is, for sure. Other than that, for me, the workshops being remote were like just great.
I can just hop in there because I'm also not in Toronto. I'm in Winnipeg, but usually I live in Hamilton, so it would have been a commute to get into Toronto anyways. And although I like to claim that I like commuting, it's not always desirable. So it was really nice that my commute was just like from my bed to my desk chair. So that was definitely like a positive and a plus. And I think as someone who perpetually puts like so much stuff on her plate, and I tried to say no to a lot of things this year, but it was nice to be able to like dive in head first into film, like having almost no experience. I was very like happy and honored that I was a part of this space, as someone who has like almost no film experience apart from just like actively and like critically watching films. So it was so nice to like be able to learn from everyone.
I totally agree. Like, I think it was so nice to just go in and it felt like we were all equals, like even if people had more experience or even like the panelists that you all curated to come in just felt like they were having a conversation with us. They were like, this is how I've done it, but like there's no way that the way that you do it is wrong. Like just that constant sharing between artists was really nice. And there were days where like my brain was like such a fog that I would be like, oh my God, we have that thing. And like, we were welcome to come in and be like, our check-in, this is where I'm at. Maybe my camera's off for the day, but I'm listening. Like, it was just a sense of like, wherever you are, just come on in. And I love that kind of space curation. So I just, yeah, and the friendships we made is really nice and helpful for going on with whatever we do. Yeah.
I agree. I didn't actually find it a barrier at all. I really enjoyed it being online. There was one weekend when I went away to a cottage and I was still able to join the sessions because you can just join on a laptop. So I actually found the opposite. I found it to be more accessible. I found I made connections with people not in Toronto. I didn't have to commute, like Minter said. So yeah, I found it to be the opposite.
I think it was kind of similar for me. I think because it was so late, like I had kind of gotten used to COVID and I was like, okay, this is a reality now. We just have to make the best of it. So the barrier was really more of like a learning opportunity. Like, how can I make the best use of this program? And I am also in Calgary, which is furthest from Toronto, and my commute would have been a 4-hour flight. So I'm really glad that I was able to access it remotely and have so much fun and make the connections I did. I actually got COVID during this process, and I had to my post-production thing was like all relegated to 3 hours before the submission deadline, and I had to complete everything very quickly. But just like when I was feeling really down about not being able to put my best work into it and not having the time, not having the energy or the health to work at it, Hannah again was just so incredibly helpful. And Jessica, thank you so much for delaying the deadline and allowing me to just submit the project when I did. So yeah, I think COVID was a bittersweet kind of atmosphere for this. Not a barrier though.
Yeah, I would never, underestimate the value of in-person human connection, but definitely, I still remember at the beginning, 3 months ago, when I was accepted into the program, communicating with you, Jessica, and asking you, how much time will this take? Because I had just started a new full-time position, and as Minwinder said, I never really know when I'm taking on too much. And a big reason why I decided to participate, and I'm so glad I did, is the remote nature of this year's program, knowing that I would save time in the commute. And again, I won't discount in-person connections, but to have made friends across Canada is, again, like something that I don't think would have been possible in a normal year. And I feel like the COVID situation, definitely bittersweet, but because we were all turning to each other to try and find solutions to our whatever issues we were having with filming, especially not having professional equipment or not having, a real big cast or crew to support us, we really had to lean on each other. And having met through the virtual space, we had a WhatsApp group going, and we had ways to communicate. And sometimes I feel like that's a little bit easier than, say, if we wanted to meet up in person, maybe people can make it. So I don't know if James expected these kinds of answers, but it was not as much of a barrier, I don't think, as we thought it would be.
I'm actually shocked by the amount of posy core attitude, because I was like, oh, going into the barrier zone, we're gonna maybe tread on some dark territory. But I'm so happy to hear that the remote opportunities have been really positive for everybody. So that's great. So the next question is a question that I sort of had as a viewer experiencing your films. I know that maybe some of the choices that were made in terms of the formal aspects of how you were framing things may have pertained to the sort of limited space you were working in. So if you were in a small room or a more kind of contained environment. But I'm curious about the sort of notion of intimacy and how the idea of intimacy or closeness or not necessarily within a confined space, but just even, you know, dealing with themes of a very personal nature. How important was the notion of intimacy for, like, how important was it for you to evoke that, if at all? And how did you choose to capture that? So I was thinking, for instance, you know, like the rawness of Claudia's film, how Malika's film, you know, there was like a large part of it, like that was indoors, like in an intimate, you know, domestic space. And Hannah's within like the bedrooms and these like spaces of dreamscapes. And Shubi, you also have these like, you know, shots that also are quite kind of cropped and close. Yeah, so can you speak to that idea of intimacy?
I could start. It's a really great question. I didn't think about this question at all, but I guess it's always been implicitly there since the beginning. I knew I had to cast my best friend as my main actress because she understood the film intuitively, and she would portray the role of my main character, Nina, how I wanted it without me needing to go over the top with details. My best friend is also a woman of color. We're both immigrants, and we deal with this, we think about the same issues at the personal level of this. When COVID started, the issue was we want to come home. How do we see our grandparents? How do we see our family? And then I had this extra layer of how do I show the psyche? How am I supposed to show dreaming when everybody dreamt differently? So intimacy for me was a form of how can I show the subconscious to the world with a very unique cinematic language and with all these restrictions. So I think intimacy finally clicked in the film at the very last minutes when I chose to have the lines of the grandmother in Tagalog, and I chose to not have that subtitled in English because I wanted it to be my mother tongue. And so this is, for me, a chance to give the viewer, what do you think this means? What do you want it to mean? What should it mean in your subconscious? So for me, more than just filming in bedrooms and in very close like proximity, it was a lot of like in the subject matter.
For me, it was really important to have a sense of immediacy and vulnerability to my film because of the topic and the pseudo docufiction genre I ended up going with. And so that showed up, like you mentioned, in a lot of close-up shots. There's a lot of very immediate shots where we have like the kettle, we have my face. So there's the candle melting on my skin. Those things I think you felt more because you were closer to them. They were like grabbing you in. But then there was also the other side of intimacy of how do I show my existence? How do I show moments that other people usually aren't privy to? And so for me, the most intimate scene in my film where I feel the most vulnerable is when I'm dancing in the mirror and it's late at night. And for me, that was very like a very vulnerable moment because you talk to your friends about dancing in your room in your underwear, but you don't really show it to people. And this was like one of those things where you're kind of just seeing something very raw and in the moment.
I think for me, it's like intimacy was a two-way thing where in terms of just the film, I did want it to feel like she was in a very confined space to kind of speak to the idea of how stuck she is in her perspective, and then she moves into another confined space. So her really going outside was kind of a way to break away from her assumptions about beauty, but obviously they were too embedded because she'd been festering them for so long in these spaces. And even at the end, like the blinds are completely closed and she's at the same place because she really hasn't moved anywhere. She's still in the same negative atmosphere, but also in terms of just my personal degree of intimacy that I was comfortable with was very difficult, because it's like food is something that you can share, and you know it's okay. Intimacy is something you also want to share, but you can't, because it's just one of those things. And like Shubi said, like that shot of you, I just love that, because I was like, I can totally relate to it. So it's like you want to share these things because you know people will relate, but it's like tearing your heart out to do it. And so this film was like a constant, that constant feeling of just like, oh my God, I am filming myself. So it was, but getting through that process, and like now looking back on it, like I said, the film, that I think in its own way, that battle of intimacy that I had, and I have since overcome, like, it's okay to be intimate. It's okay to show, you know, the darker sides of yourself, the sides of yourself that you're unsure of to people, because out there people will relate. Yeah, is that a good? I think that's my answer.
Excellent,
so good.
excellent answer.
So good. I think you're all just like amazingly brave. So I'm so happy to like share work with each other. Oh my gosh. Okay, intimacy is in my film. It's like the whole thing. It's terrifying. It was so terrifying. Yeah, like the way I shot it was initially in bed, and like just like the turmoil of anxiety and like how that feels in the body. And it's just like this manifestation that needs to get released. So with skin picking, like I think the whole empowerment of it, and like how skin picking keeps growing, is that it's like a secret that you hold, and that like it happens like in closed doors, like you're in a bathroom and suddenly you get, you know, wrapped in it, and you're suddenly touching your skin, and it's like you're pulled into this like black hole. And for a long time I would just kind of hold on to it, and I wouldn't really like show my skin. Like the summers I would be like wearing t-shirts and stuff like that. So doing this film and like showing that intimacy of like touching your skin and like the ritual of it, it's almost like debunking the shame of it, and it's like taking back your power and pulling yourself away from it. And that like really it's like a problem that's like big in your life and you're blowing it up and you're putting so much weight on it, when really it's not that. It's not that. It doesn't need to have that much power, right? Like we give power to things. And so yeah, this film was empowering for me to like let go in a way of that shame of having that for many years. And yeah, the intimacy of it, is the closeness of it was important, because it is what it is, right? Like you just need to see it, and it's hard to do, and it's hard to film, and it's hard to edit, and it's hard to live in that world during the time I was making the film, but I needed to. So it wasn't just for me, it was for other people that deal with the skin picking situation as well, that they need to see that, like we all know, film, when you see it, it reinforces something that you didn't know before, and it opens you up to being like, oh wow, it doesn't need to be like this. It's a convoluted answer, I'm sure, but it's hard to talk about because the whole thing is very, very intimate. It's the most intimate I think I've ever felt on screen, and I'm an actor, so that's a lot. Yeah.
I think it's interesting you asked this, Jessica, because the most intimate idea I had for my film is something that I didn't actually include in this work in progress piece that I submitted. I really wanted to use old voicemails that I had saved over the years and remix them and kind of to add to that element or that feeling of we're in a memory, but it's also blending into the dream space. So what I did is I actually did the visual editing first, and I saved the sound editing for the end. And funnily enough, it was actually, as Claudia just mentioned, when you're in that headspace, it can actually be too much. So listening to and working with these personal voicemails, with the limited time I had, I realized, okay, I think I need a bit more time to really get into this and know how to portray this in a way that's still a little bit objective, because they were so personal that I felt like I needed more time with these sound clips before I could really justify putting them in there, if that makes sense. So that's actually my plan for the next stage of the process, is to use these personal voicemails and to add that other element to the story, and try and portray the intimacy of friendship, but also some of the more negative sides that can come with that. And another technique I used, or I tried to use, was filming at golden hour, which is something we talked about a lot over the last 3 months, taking advantage of natural light. And I personally find certain times of day just very sensual. The light on skin is really beautiful, and the light on someone's hair, and just the tones and the colors you can achieve. So in terms of chasing a feeling, I think intimacy, I've always, especially in film, I love when it's not shown head on. So should be that dancing in front of the mirror. I also love that. It's such an intimate shot, and there's still so much, I guess, innocence to it. It's not traditional intimacy that people tend to think of, but it's still with the feeling that you're in someone else's headspace is so nice to capture. So that's a challenge. I think a lot of us in our films have shown intimacy without hitting it head on, and that's something that I think we should continue to try doing, because I think it's a challenge, but when it's executed well, it's really, I think, very evocative and very effective.
For me, intimacy was kind of a key theme of what I wanted my film to look like, but also like a key barrier to me like being able to fully execute the film. I also, like, similar to what Sam was talking about, wanted to use like personal, it was like Snapchats from like 2016 that I still had on my computer. But it was just like revisiting a person that I wasn't anymore. So it was like super hard to like even screw like my 2016 like phone pictures that I obviously like have in a folder in my iPhotos as like iPhone success pictures. I was like going through them, and I'm like, this is like, I want to show everyone, but it's also like someone who I don't recognize, who I'm not anymore. And I was like looking at it in my, because I'm back with my parents, so I was looking at it in my like childhood home. So it was like both the intimacy of like me and my computer and like my old memories, but also like the intimacy of like the space that I'm viewing it in. And then I tried to like film myself, but like I was like, my parents are gonna see, or my parents are gonna hear me. So that was like another layer of intimacy that I was trying to navigate. But I don't think there would ever be a space that I would be in where I'm like, okay, like here I can be my most intimate, like everything is in the exact space I want it to be, where I can be like vulnerable and open and intimate. But this before, but like watching everyone's films just like encouraged me so much to also like, yeah, just be open and vulnerable, especially, and I don't mean to like single anyone, like one particular film out, but Claudia's film just like spoke to me so much, and it was just, yeah, it was so intimate and vulnerable. Like, yeah, I just want you to know that it like really encouraged me.
Just to like echo, thank you so much, and like all of you have touched me in so many ways. But with like what you were saying, Manvinder, like I couldn't do it with anyone. Like I had to do this film alone. Like I couldn't even have my mom in the house doing the film. I couldn't. It had to be alone, and like that was such a gift. So the fact that we got to make this film in this way, in this context, it was like such a gift for myself as a healing method. Yeah, and I don't know that person anymore. And I'm hopefully evolving, right, as we all are.
Thanks for all those generous answers. So we've got 10 minutes left, and we have some questions from our lovely viewers. So we have a question from Ria, and they write, I have a question for Daybreak. I really enjoyed this film. My question is concerning the scene where Nina meets a spiritual friend in one of her dreams, and she is told to rest and surrender. To me, it felt like a call for recovery or relief to the protagonist. Was that the sense you intended?
Definitely. And in context, this was a film that's made in COVID, and you hear it throughout the film. And when you're always inside, when you're always isolated, do your dreams still provide relief? Was a big question that I had. And someone who's suffering from narcolepsy, a lot of the times, no. A lot of the times it's nightmares. But at some point I learned to let go, and I learned that maybe I should just surrender, and my dreams could be better that way. And that's the way, it's actually a real something that actually happened to me. I learned to let go, and I found my grandma who was waiting for me at the daybreak, this room full of light. And I don't know if I can repeat that process. Hopefully, yes. But letting go was like the key element to this film, of like being able to find peace and knowing that it's going to be okay.
Great, thanks, Hannah. So this question will be for everyone, and for the interest of time, if you could keep your answers as lovely and succinct as possible, because I still have a few more questions, and Jillian, I'm sure does too. So this question is how was creating this film and the program's process, how has it affected your own mental health and wellness?
It's improved my mental health and wellness.
It
Yes.
improved my mental health and wellness.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just like taking ownership over like the dark feelings, not just like the happy feelings, and just a reminder that to always make art, like no matter what level of your life you're at, even if you're at your highest point, like just create art to like process your life. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be for anybody else. It can just be for yourself, and it's gonna help you.
Yeah, to have had like a group of like-minded individuals and such talented and passionate people to go through this process with, that was only a benefit for mental health and well-being. So that helped a lot as well.
Yeah, I would just have to echo that. It was super validating to be in a group with a group of people who were just so talented and lovely to be around. And I know everyone's already talked about how helpful Hannah was, but she was also very helpful for me. And just thinking through my process, whatever that might, or whatever that will look like.
Okay, thank you. And we have another question. This is for anyone who wants to answer. Don't feel obligated to answer if you feel it might not pertain to you as much. Okay, so thanks for sharing your films. Congrats. I enjoyed that many have a somewhat experimental form, itself a problematic term. Would anyone like to share your process for developing or deciding on the forms you put on screen?
My film needed to be realistic in terms of budget and in terms of technology. So I have a MacBook Air 2013, and this cannot edit 4K. So I'm like, let's just lean into the jankiness. And that's what happened.
Did anyone else feel like they were making experimental, taking experimental risks at all?
I did. I really felt like my genre was experimental in the sense that it wasn't documentary, but it wasn't totally fiction. And even when I came down to trying to define it, just for like the sake of it, if I wanted to submit it anywhere else, you have to submit it in a genre category. I was struggling with that a lot. Also, it was experimental for me because actually, I'm just going to tie in a question that's in the Q&A here. For me, it was experimental with a lot of the sound design. And in that sense, like, I was pulling from a lot of films that I loved, and there's this idea that filmmaking is just stealing from other filmmakers. And I definitely did that a lot, where I was experimental with sound in other films I saw of layering sounds and whatnot. And that wasn't really in the sense of like, that's a narrative structure, that's a plot structure that develops character. But it was experimental in that I was trying to communicate a singular feeling rather than trying to tell a story always. And so in that way, I felt it was very experimental.
I noticed that with your piece for sure, Shubhi, there was this intense but wonderfully recorded scratching. That was really great. All right, so we only have 4 minutes left. So I want to make sure that we have a chance to give you folks the platform to talk about your next few projects. But before that, quick question. What sort of advice, if you could give like a one sentence sort of bit of advice to the new cohort for next year, for filmmakers who might want to join this program next year, what is your advice to them?
I would say apply even if you don't think you'll get in, or if you don't think you deserve to be in a certain group, or any of those self-deprecating, self-doubt feelings, because I applied because my best friend forced me 3 hours before the deadline, and that was the happiest decision I made in the last few months. So just apply, go for it.
Exactly. Don't be afraid. And for me, this is something Jillian actually repeated throughout the entire workshop, which is trust your gut. You know what you're doing. Do it.
I'm echoing Hannah. Trust your gut.
Agree. I think if you have a story that just won't stop talking to you, just go for it, write it out, and submit. The worst result is you have a script to work with, and the winning result is that you get a team of people. But either way, you're putting your work out there and you're doing your best. And yeah, if it's an impulse that just won't shut down, don't let it shut down. Just follow it.
Yeah, in a similar vein, I would also say, yeah, just apply. Even if you don't think you would label yourself as a filmmaker, you're a filmmaker if you say you are. So
there are more people who support you than you know. Even in isolation, we had each other's support, and I feel like hopefully when the world opens up again, you will have your people and you will have your audience.
That's great. Thank you. All right, 2 minutes. I'd like everyone to share what projects you have going on next, where we can find you. Go ahead.
My name is Claudia Liz, they, she pronouns. I'm going to be working on a series on diabetes and living with that as a 20-something-year-old. And I'm also researching the life of Carmen Miranda, who is a very iconic Brazilian Latin actor, famous in Hollywood in like the 50s. So I really want to dive into her life and hopefully make a biopic or a series of some sort. Yeah. Oh, and you can find me on Instagram, ClaudiaLiz_artist. Thanks.
My name's Hannah. My pronouns are she and her. You can find me on my website, hannahdonato.com. And my next steps are I'm studying scenography at Ryerson, and I'm also studying script supervision, up until January. And then after that, who knows?
Hi, I'm Siekta. Thank you for listening and for hearing all of us for the past hour. But I'm have a few writing projects in the works, and I'm hoping to work with some of the lovely individuals I met through this program on a few films as well. And yeah, you can find me on Instagram.
I'm Manvinder. You can find me on Instagram at womanvinder. And true to my bio, I'm in another program now. So I'll be doing research still on the Punjabi and Sikh community in relation to alcohol. And I do run with a group of lovely volunteers. I run monthly workshops for anyone interested in having conversations in the Punjabi community around problems with alcohol.
My name is Malika. You can find me on Instagram at malika.9001. Currently, I'm just trying to process the lessons I've learned from this film, and I'm just waiting to get some ideas that I have on paper and then hopefully shoot it in the winter semester. But yeah.
I'm Shubi. You can find me on Instagram at Shubi_Sani. I'm starting film school in January, so I'm headed down to California for that, which will be interesting. And my next project is an exploration of color told through a love story.
Well, we'll all be really keenly following every one of you in the next little while and beyond. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, Jillian. Thank you, the techs and captioner and ASL interpreter. Thank you, viewers. Just a reminder that the Rendezvous with Madness Festival will go on until October 27th. We have a lot of wonderful events that you can check out on our website, workmanarts.com. Hope to see you around at some other panels, and take good care, everybody. Thanks for joining. Have a good evening.
Bye, everyone.
Well, we can hang on just a second.